we have Carol Weaver. She'll be doing the presentation for you. And she is actually housed here in the library. So if you need to contact her at any time in the future, you can locate her here. This is an extremely important workshop. I know that when I was able to see her presentation during the first semester of my doctoral program, this opened my eyes to so much that is available to us here at UTPA, and I'm getting chills thinking about it, in the lines of research capabilities. There is a lot out there. Things that I wasn't aware of. I had been searching that EB post forever, and you know, I'd go through 9,000 articles, and by the end, then you just start picking stuff you don't even want because you just want to get something on the page. The Boolean phrases and the different databases that I was unaware that are available to us is amazing. I was just, there was a lot that I didn't know, and I felt like I came from a really strong research background, but this does enlighten you completely. I'm going to let her take this over.
First thing I want to be sure everybody did y'all pull the packets? Because I'm going to kind of be referring to them. And since we only have an hour for this workshop, I'm not really going to get into any kind of real depth here. Okay? So if you need some more depth here, okay, up on the front board and also in your packets is my business card, okay? And you have my name, Carol Weber. I am the Reference and Instructional Services Librarian here, or one of the Reference and Instructional Services Librarian. My office number here is Library Room 214A, and that's not on my business card. Okay, and 214A is on the east side of the second floor. Okay, my office number is 665-3301. My university email is cweber@utpa.edu. Also, if you guys are set up with Skype or a Logitech camera, you can Skype me or contact me through the Logitech at cw.886. I do have that on my business card. Okay. A couple of other ways that you guys can ask for assistance here if I'm not around. Okay, we do have an Ask a Librarian service. Okay, you can email questions, you can text the library, you can chat or instant message us. You can also go to the reference desk on the second floor, east side. You can in person or call us. On the backs of your university library brochures, in the middle panel is a list of the phone numbers to the various service desks here in the library, and you do have the reference number there. You can also do our Book a Librarian, or take advantage of our Book a Librarian service. There is a flyer in the handouts that I handed out. Okay. You can either come to the reference desk and fill out a form, or you can go to the email address and fill out the online form there. Okay. This is also available off of the library's webpage. And let me just pull that up for a minute and show you there. Okay. And the email address for our the web address for our website is lib.utpa.edu. Okay, that's also on the front of your university library brochure. On the sidebar here of our webpage, there is a link for our Book a Librarian, and you can pull up the web form there. Or if you go down to the chat button on our webpage, okay, this is our Ask a Librarian page. And you can send an email. Okay, you can text. The text number is 956-203-8255. 0542 that should also be on your university library brochure. You can get into the chat or IM service there. And you can also contact us here at the reference desk. Okay. The next thing that I want you guys to be aware of, because I know this is important for graduate students, are library hours. They are posted on the university library brochure on the very front panel. I also stapled inside the form exceptions to our hours. Okay, what I was going to do next is just ask you guys why you're here. What is it that you want me to cover, and what is it that you hope to get out of this workshop? And maybe I'll start that way.
Well, as a graduate student, they're always having us
Write papers.
Getting more green here. Articles for annotated bibliographies and summarizing and what's your input on this, and search for 20 and do a summary or a 10-page report. And I always get very frustrated the way Bobby was saying with the e-host or whatever, because I go crazy trying to figure out what to do or what to look for.
Okay.
So what would be the best thing for me not to go crazy with my limited time as a mom and a teacher and a...
Right, yeah, I understand that. And what program are you in?
I'm in the educational diet program.
Okay. And you?
So for me, two things. I guess one for my job and the other one for my classes. I'm in the Master of Accountancy program, and at the moment I'm taking a tax research class, which is kind of driving me a little crazy. So.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure I'm too good at look, I have problems doing my own taxes, okay?
Even with that, obviously lots of tax is some are very dry, but even just little tips that can save some time, like that would be extremely helpful. But also for my job, I work for UTPA Community Engagement Office, constantly doing research. But for example, we're about to start writing that might come in handy as well. So just for that specific this area, what databases we can use or how to look for information a little easier. And so time saver too. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure I can answer all the tax stuff. Yes.
It's why are you here?
I'm asking why are you here and what do you hope to accomplish?
It's basically getting like information. I'm going for in the education program.
Okay.
And well, sometimes you need to look the internet and you want good sources to find materials to teach and to give you ideas and to create your own handout activities, lesson plans.
And they want you to do that using empirically based research, right?
Yes.
They want stuff that's been tested.
And it's hard to find something that is what you want. Like last time, measurements. You want something that is measurements, but it's focused on what you need, on elementary or junior high or middle.
Okay. So you're looking for like standardized tests and measures, that kind of thing?
Well, not as standardized, but kind of like someplace where I can find reliable information that I can also do for my papers and yes, but also to use in my class.
Okay.
That it's that I know for sure that it's gonna benefit my class, and not something that someone made up and they think it's something that is like kind of like set in stone.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You were here for a refresher, right?
I need to know a little bit more about where things have gone in the library since I've been out of it, because I'm trying to figure out how maybe we can help our students who are science and math majors first of all.
Oh, okay.
And then they're getting their teacher certification if they complete the program. But I just figured there might be a way I can help in some way, especially if I know a little bit more about some of the more recent things that have happened.
Okay.
So.
Okay. What I will do, or what I was going to do, is focus on articles first of all. And I was going to focus on articles in two ways. Okay? Finding and locating an article using its citation, and then finding and locating an article using one of our article databases. So does that sound like I hit the bases here? Okay. And if not, come see me after this workshop, and I'll see what else we can work on. Okay. The first thing, and I'm kind of going to start a little bit backwards here, or what, at least in my mind, is a little bit backwards. I'm going to start by giving a citation. And there's a handout in your packet that's how to locate an article using its citation. Okay? And I gave a citation for an article as an example. It's an article out of the Journal of Educational Research. And I broke the parts of the citation down. Now, I did put this in APA format, and I think most of you are probably going to be using APA. Okay. And then I listed the steps down. Okay. Now, I took the article, or I came across an article in a journal called Literary Research and Instruction. Okay. And I went to an article called These Kids Just Aren't Motivated to Read, the Influence of Pre-Service Teachers' Beliefs on Their Expectations, Instruction, and Evaluation of Struggling Readers. Okay? And one of the things that I do, and I know a lot of researchers do this, but they go to the end of the article and look at the references or their works cited page to see what references, what books, which articles, what studies, reports that the author or authors used to write their article. Okay? And I was scanning down the list, and I came across an article in the reference list there by Sudak and Pottle. And I thought, well, that might be something I might want to take a look at. Okay. How would I go about finding the actual article here?
I've tried by the title itself, dash article, dash journal, dash whatever may hit the spot or the last name. Sometimes it takes a little while to get there. Sometimes it'll bring it right up, and other times it doesn't.
Now, in a citation, you have two titles. You have the title of the article, and then you also have the title of your source. So which title would you use?
The source. And start with the journal title.
Yeah, you're going to have to use the title of your source. And in this citation, what's our title of the source?
Journal of Educational Research.
Yeah, Journal of Educational Research. And we're looking for an article from 1994, which is volume 88, issue number 1. Okay. Now, to do this, if I go to the library catalog here, if I go back to the library's webpage, okay, and if I go to the first link here, under the research category, library catalog, okay, the library catalog will tell you what materials the library owns, whether they're books, whether they're titles of journals, newspapers, magazines, whether they're government documents or government reports, whether they're audiovisual materials. But this is, think of this as an inventory of what the library has. And if I click the link here, now there's a tab here with the library catalog called the Journal Title tab. And if I click that tab, and then in my search box, if I put the name of the journal. And I can copy and paste this too. Okay? So if I type in Journal of Educational Research and click on search there, okay. Now what this is telling me here is the library does have access to this journal. Okay. These are the dates that the library has access to. And then this is the source here. So from January 1920 to November 30th, 2005, the library has access to this journal in our JSTOR database. Okay? Anything that says UTPA Holdings means that the library carries this title in its collection. Okay? So what this means is that this journal will be part of our periodicals collection. Okay. So what I would do next, okay, I know that the library has this, either online, in full text, or through the library's collection. What year did we need? What year are we looking for? 1994. Okay. Well, from 1920 to 1996, I know I can get a hold of a print copy, or I can go to JSTOR, because JSTOR has it from 1920 to 2005, or I might be able to go to some of the other databases like Academic Search, Professional Development Collection, Behavioral Psychology and Behavioral Sciences, Master File, okay? But not from the last three, because their electronic access didn't start until 1996.
Carol, what is JSTOR?
JSTOR is one of our article databases. And its purpose is to be an electronic archive for journals, for scholarly journals. They are also including books and primary documents now. Okay? Now, that database is pretty much full text. However, most of the journals in JSTOR have a moving wall of the last 3 to 5 years, so you're not necessarily going to get the most recent literature, although some of the journals do link out to more recent literature. And a lot of students like JSTOR because it's full text. But what I warn them is you're not necessarily getting the most recent literature there. Okay? Okay. So if I wanted to go to JSTOR, all I have to do is click the link here. And this should take me directly to the journal in JSTOR, and then I can search the issues. So I can go down to the 1990s here. And I want to go to 1994, which is volume 88, issue number 1. Right? And if I just click that issue number there, this will display the titles. And this should be it here. Teachers Thinking About Difficult to Teach Students, by Sudak and Podell, or Podell. And then if I can I just click the article PDF there and accept their terms, that should pull up the article there. But here's my article here. And then I can print this out using the printer icon in my Adobe software. If for any reason the electronic access doesn't work, I can always go to the UTPA Holdings. Now what will happen there, this will take me into our library catalog. And I see 2 titles here for the Journal of Educational Research. One that says online here. Anything that says online or electronic resource means we have the online access. Okay, and if I click under the first title here, what this will do is it display a record in the library catalog for one of our periodicals. And this here are your holdings. This will tell you what years we have, how we carry them, and which floor to go to. So if we're looking for a 1994 issue, well, I see the library has from September 91 to August 96, which are volumes 85 through 89. We keep those in a bound format. Okay, and the bound issues are kept on second floor west. And I'm going to need the call number to be able to locate the journal on the shelf. Okay, you guys know what we're talking about by a bound journal? Yeah, where we're taking the issues and bound them like a book. Okay, but the bound issues are arranged by call number. And here in the library, we use Library of Congress call numbers. There should be a sheet in your packets that talks about the library catalog. I included that, and there should be one there for LC call numbers as well. Do you guys know where the periodicals are kept here in the library?
Third floor, I think.
Okay. The library brochure will tell you, because there's a description of all the floors there, but 2 floors, second floor west and third floor east. On second floor west, as I said earlier, the bound journals. We also keep paper issues. Okay. Usually anything bound is a back issue, and anything in paper is a current issue. But I do know there's some paper issues up there that haven't been bound yet. Okay. And on third floor east, we keep copies or issues on microfiche, or we keep them in a microfilm format, which are your round rolls. Yeah, there are machines up there where you guys can read and make copies. Now, how we keep these depends on the journal. Okay, it depends on the library, the decisions that the library has made as to how to retain our journal, our periodicals. Okay? And these are all arranged by Library of Congress call number, or LC call number, which is your lettered and numbered system. Okay? The exception are our newspapers. We do keep a number of newspapers on third floor east on microfilm, but our newspapers are arranged alphabetically by the name of the newspaper. If you guys get lost, please go over to the service desk. Okay? Just, you know, please don't be afraid to ask. Do you have any questions about finding an article using its citation?
Would it be that hard to use the advanced research?
Mm-mm.
Or it would be the same? Because I came to, I don't remember, it was a couple of months ago, and they taught us how to do the advanced research.
Oh, that's using one of our article databases?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can, like, I don't know, find books and articles and like that.
Okay.
Would that work too with this?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, but sometimes what I'm saying here is a lot of students, or I find that a lot of students can go into a database and get articles, but they can't take the citation and find an article. Okay? They can't do the exact opposite. So that's why I started with this first. Because sometimes it's all you have. Okay. But any questions regarding how to find an article using its citation? No? The next thing I want to go and do is talk about how to find an article using one of our article databases. And in your packets, I put a list of steps. Basically, there are 6 steps that you need to go through. Okay? And I'm not going to go into any detail about the steps because we don't really have time here. But basically, you're going to have to start out with some kind of topic or some kind of research question, something that you are looking for, whether that's a person, place, or a thing. Okay? Then you need to select an appropriate article database or databases, because oftentimes you're going to need to search more than one, especially at the graduate level. I know my undergraduates, oh yeah, let's just go JSTOR. I'm like, whoa, is that the right database?
No.
Are you getting all the information? And then you're going to have to search the database or databases. And then you're going to identify articles that are relevant to you. Okay? And then you're going to have to actually go and locate the article. Okay? And then once you've got the articles, then you're going to be reading and evaluating the articles. You want to evaluate the research that's being presented in the article. Now, I did put a list of possible databases. Now, it's 3 pages. These are not all the databases that we have available to you. And because I didn't quite know what fields y'all were coming from, I tried to give a sort of, I tried to kind of give an overview. Okay? But let me say a couple of things just very briefly about the databases. Okay, in the world of databases, there are general databases and there are subject-specific databases. Academic Search Complete is an example of a general database. Business Source Complete or ERIC are examples of subject-specific databases. Your subject-specific databases cover a specific body of the literature. Okay, for instance, your Business Source Complete covers the literature in business, accounting, finance, economics, whereas ERIC covers your literature in education. Okay? Also keep in mind that in a lot of the databases, it's not just journals. It's not just articles. They're including books. They're including government reports. In Business Source Complete, they're including SWOT analysis, industry reports, and ERIC, they include guides, videos, teaching materials, that kind of thing. Also, please be aware how far back in the literature that some of the databases go. ERIC, for instance, goes back to the 1960s. Okay, some of the other databases go back a little bit further. And then also be aware that a lot of the databases are not full text. Many are what we call partial full text, which means that they may or may not give the article to you. Okay? And if you guys need other suggestions for databases to search, please contact me or contact the reference desk. And a lot of times there's going to be multiple databases that you can consult. Now, to get into or to search the article databases, which is what you're going to be doing in step 3, you want to go to our webpage and then click the second link there under the research category, which is your articles and databases link. And once you click that link, you'll get an alphabetized listing of the databases that the library has access to. Okay. Now you can search the databases from on campus or off campus. Also keep that in mind. Now we do have the databases arranged by very broad subject categories. The second sentence from the top says, click here to locate databases by subject category. If you click that, you can take a look at this, the categories. There is a category here for business law and government. There is one here for education as well. And if I were to click the one under business law and government, it would give you an alphabetized list of the databases. Okay. Let me click back here and just go to the alphabetized list. Okay. I was going to search Eric. Is that okay for everybody? Is Eric all right? Okay. To get into Eric, I'm going to click the letter E, which is going to drop us down the page. Now with Eric, and Eric is listed, there's two listings for Eric here. Okay. About the third database from the ends of the E's there. We get Eric from a company called EBSCO. And then Eric, there is a version of Eric that was now put together by this Institute of Educational Sciences. And you can go to their site and search Eric. Eric, remember, used to be put out by the Department of Education. And then when George W. Bush was president, he turned that over, he privatized it. Okay, and there's some other versions of Eric that are available as well. The data is the same, but the interfaces are different. Okay, I'm going to use the Eric from EBSCO version. And to get in, just click on the name of the database. Now, if I was doing this from home, I want to go through the same steps. I want to go to the library webpage. I want to go to the articles and databases link. But when I click on the name of the database, you're going to be asked to enter your username and password. And that's just your username and password for your university email account. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the advanced search here, because that gives us a few more search features. Okay. Does anybody have a particular topic that they want to take a look at, or a research question, or
Assessments, I guess, in the elementary assessments?
elementary, like assessments in elementary schools?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like, well, what I'm working on now is how to create one from scratch, from actually reading a child's book, creating one. That's one of my projects right now. To create an actual assessment test, like an end of the semester test.
Okay. So you would want to look for articles that deal with creating assessments?
Yes, maybe a guide or what to look for, or how to.
Okay.
Or how about, well, we can go into something simpler, I guess, autism strategies. Or
For teaching?
for teaching.
Teaching strategies?
Yes.
Okay. If you're looking at
No,
teaching
simpler.
strategies for students who are autistic, what are you going to enter into your search boxes here? Because you're going to have to enter your keywords here. Because you're going to have to tell the database what it is that you're looking for.
About strategies for autism, for autistic children.
Okay, so you want to look for autistic children. And when I begin typing in the database, if you're using an EBSCO database, they'll start making suggestions. And you want to use strategies or teaching strategies?
Teaching strategies.
Because you can search by either keyword or key phrase here. And teaching strategies would be an example of a keyword. Autism would be, key phrase. Autism would be an example of a keyword. Okay, and if I click search here, okay, this brought me back for search results. Is that a reasonable number of search results to have to go through?
Yes, for the beginning.
Or is it too few search results to have to go through? Because you want to avoid that other end of the spectrum here.
It's too few. I guess it's just, it's okay to start with.
Yeah, it might be okay to start with.
So you know, you have a better idea of what you're looking for from there maybe.
Okay.
But we need more.
Okay. Let me go down here to number 4. And what you get back in the database is a citation for something. Okay. And what you see listed here first is the title, Instructional Considerations for Young Children with Autism, the Rationale for Visually Cued Instruction. And if I click on the title here, this will bring up a detailed or complete record. Okay? And the first thing you see here is your title, your author or authors, because oftentimes, especially with scholarly literature, you're dealing with more than one author. In this case, just one author here. And then your source information. This is out of the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders, Volume 27, Issue number 6. And this is an article from the December 1997 issue. Now, in this database, and in some databases, but not all databases, they will indicate whether or not the source has been peer-reviewed. So this is an article from a peer-reviewed journal. The Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders is a peer-reviewed journal. Now, in a lot of databases, they give descriptors or subject headings. Okay, and these are subject categories that are assigned by ERIC to the articles or to the materials in ERIC. And these are useful for finding other ways to say the same thing. Okay, so instead of saying teaching strategies, we might use teaching methods. Or we might say maybe instructional effectiveness, or maybe just the word instruction.
I have a question about the descriptors. Let's say, for example, I guess the first descriptor is autism.
Mm-hmm.
If we did a search that had autistic, would it give you the same, would it recognize it by autism? Does that have to be that specific word?
If I did...
In this case, we're lucky because it has, in the abstract, it says autistic. But like say we put autistic as our keyword, and it's not listed there, would it still lead us back to that?
Would it pick up on autism?
Autism?
No.
Mm-mm. It wouldn't, okay.
No. Mm-mm.
So even like the variation of the word could
No, not unless you did a truncation, not unless you truncated it. If you did truncation, where what you could do is just type in, say, AUTI, and then I believe in EBSCO you need to use the asterisks.
Okay.
You could truncate the ending, but you have to be careful when you truncate. Okay, so, but yeah, but if I just typed in autistic, it wouldn't pick up on autism. Okay, and then your abstract, which is your summary, and what you're going to use to determine whether or not the article is relevant to you, which you would have to do in step 4 there. Now, there's notes here and publication type. This is telling you that this is a journal article and some kind of research report. Okay. Also, if you use ERIC, ERIC has what's called an ERIC number, and you'll either see EJ in 6 digits or ED in 6 digits. Okay. Your EDs are for your ERIC documents, and those tend to be your studies, your guides, your reports. Okay. Anything with an EJ and the ERIC number is referring you to an ERIC journal. Okay. What I might do here is go back and change some of my keywords here and say maybe teaching methods, or maybe best practices. You could say children with autism or autism. You could specify, now, yeah, that brought me back 100. Yeah. Or you could say, what else could you say here? We use autistic children. You could specify a grade level. You could put elementary school, high school, middle school there as another way to say the same thing. And that's the thing with keywords. Sometimes you have to think of other ways to say the same thing. Okay? Or think of synonyms. Okay. Now have we met our goal of a reasonable number of search results? You also want to remember you want to bring back relevant search results. How do you know when you have a reasonable number? Do you have time to go through 100 search results? Not really. Well, there are a couple of things you can do. You can play around with your keywords a little bit. Like I said, you could add elementary school, you could add a grade level, you could focus on girls, you can focus on boys. That you might do. Also, you could set limiters. Okay? If you only need journal articles, if you want to eliminate any ERIC documents, okay, I could go down here to journal or document and just select journal articles. And I could click search there. That brought me down to 66. If I'm only interested in journals that have been, or articles from peer-reviewed sources, because oftentimes professors will say, I only want peer-reviewed articles or peer-reviewed sources. That brought me down to 56. So you could eliminate some things in your search. I would probably continue to play around with my keywords here. Okay. Now, if an article, like here in number 1, is provided by the database, you'll see here in this little bar, you'll see a PDF full text, or you'll see an HTML full text. You might, in some databases, also see a linked out. Okay, and what the linked out will do is it will link you to another source. I've noticed that in some of the databases. So if I click the PDF full text here, this will pull up my actual article. Also, here on the left-hand side, this is giving you additional articles. And these are articles from this issue. And this is out of the Journal of Intellectual Disability Research from October 2011. And these are other articles in this particular issue. So you might want to look at the other articles in the issue. Okay. Now, what are you going to do if, like here in number 3, you have no PDF or HTML full text link? This would be your indication that the article is not available through the database. What are you going to do then?
Go find it in the reference, the actual bound or something.
Okay. It might be, the title might be part of our collection. So it might be part of the library's periodical collection. You might be able to find this journal, and this is out of the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry from December 2012. It might be available through one of our other databases. Okay.
Okay.
Or you might find, well, we don't have this at all. We don't have access to this. This journal isn't part of our collection. What are you going to do to find out?
Click on it.
And what is he or she going to do? across this situation?
I'll be honest, I would go to Google probably.
You could go to Google, but
Yeah.
here's the problem.
Is it a
Sometimes it might not be in Google, or you might end up on the journal's website where they either won't give you access because you're not a subscriber,
Yeah.
or they will charge you an outrageous amount of money. Okay. I was on one journal recently and I couldn't get the article, but they said they'd sell it to me for $37. Plus local sales tax. I thought, what? Huh? Or you might find, you might find your access has been blocked for whatever reason. I mean, this is a fairly recent article. Some publishers are not really very considerate in supplying recent articles.
We do throw a tantrum and look for something else.
You could do that, and a lot of my undergraduates say, oh, we're going to use something else. But what happens, and let me just click this on here, title for a minute. And let's say we go to the abstract and you just say, oh, wow, this is just what I need. This is perfect. Well, you know what? I wouldn't want to go to a doctor who does that. Oh, we'll skip this medical article. Yeah, I could save my patient's life, but it's not in full text, you know. There's a button here called Article Linker. And Article Linker will save you some footwork, because Article Linker will indicate whether or not that article is available in another database or some other source, or whether the journal is part of our collection. Or it might say, sorry, no holdings were found. Okay. Now, when I click Article Linker here, it's taking me into Wiley Online Library, which is another one of our article databases. And it's taking me to the issue here, or the journal here. And I should just be able to get the PDF, or I can view it in HTML there. And there's my article there.
Here I was throwing a tantrum and giving up.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Now, if we don't have it at all, you'll get a phrase that comes back that says, sorry, no holdings were found. Now, if you come across something like that, you always have the option to go through our interlibrary loan process or our ILL process. Let me see if I can find, no, I'm sure we have computers in education. Let me check here, number 6. Oh no, that's linking me out. It's another Wiley. Yeah, this is a pretty cool search because there's a lot of PDFs here. Now that linked me out as well. Okay. Let me change this search for just a minute, and I'll show you what I was playing around with today here, and I'll see if I can't pull something up here. I was looking at the use of robots in teaching. I played around with my keywords here. And I did run across a few articles. Here in number 1, this is out of something called Journal of Interactive Learning Research. It's called Using a Humanoid Robot to Develop a Dialogue-Based Interactive Learning Environment. If I click the article linker button here, this is the phrase I'm talking about. Sorry, no holdings were found for this journal. Okay, please click on Interlibrary Loan Request Form. Okay, and this is the link here. There's also a link on the front page of the library's webpage. I could go there as well. And if I click on this link, now we're using Iliad for our interlibrary loan process. Okay, and Iliad requires me to log on. Have any of you gone through Iliad? Okay, if you're a new time user, you're going to have to register. There'll be a form there for you to register. And I just put in my username and password, which is the same one I use to log on to the computers on campus. Okay. Now, what happened here is Iliad automatically filled in all of the required fields. And any field that has a little red asterisk there is a required field. Okay. Now, the one thing I would change here is there is a field here that says not wanted after date. And that's set about 2 months in advance. Usually with interlibrary loan, the ILL office asks you to give them at least 2 weeks to try to get the article or the material to you. So I would change that date. And I would put something like maybe, I would probably try like something like April 10th there. Okay. Also, the other thing with interlibrary loan, sometimes there may be some fees involved. I had that situation recently where I was ordering or had requested a number of articles from the same journal. And I would have to pay some copyright clearance center fees. Okay? So please be aware of that. And then once I look all this over, I can go ahead and submit the request. Okay. Oh, please be sure. Oh, 04 there. I didn't like something. And then I can go ahead. Yeah. And then it'll give you a summary. You should also get an email sent to you. And remember, the library uses your official university accounts for all business. Now, because I requested an article, generally those are going to be, you're going to receive those electronically. And you should get an email from the Interlibrary Loan Office. You can just get back into Iliad and go to your electronically received articles. Oh, wow. And this is what I was requesting the other day. So, a little project I'm working on. But with interlibrary loan, you can request articles. You can request books, book chapters, conference papers, patents, reports, theses. Okay. And then anything else, I can view my outstanding requests. I can also look at things I've requested. So Iliad keeps track of your interlibrary loan requests there. And there is a handout in your packets talking about our interlibrary loan policies. One other thing I do want to mention here, and be sure that you are aware of, and I did put a copy of this in your packets, but it is the library print policy. Okay, because you know campus, the university has a print credit limit of 250 print credits per semester. Okay, here in the library you have a print limit of 250 credits per semester. Now if you were here in the fall, any print credits that you didn't use should have rolled over. Okay. For the mini-mester, now if you guys are going to be rolling in the mini-mester or the summer sessions, please be aware that mini-mester and summer is treated as one session. So you only get 250 credits for the mini-mester in the summer. Also keep in mind, your print credits have to last between now and the beginning of the mini-mester. If you run out, you can request 50 additional print credits. and that is for purposes here in the library. If that runs out, no more print credits for the library. Okay, you can do duplex or double-sided printing. Okay, the printers here in the library are set up for that. Now, you do have print credits separate from the library in the other labs on campus. So if you run out, you can always go down to the Academic Services building and print out there. Now, one of the things that you can do if you're using for one of the EBSCO databases, you can create folders here. And as you're searching, you can add, you can folder your search results. And with the search results, there's a little tab here called the folder up there in the blue bar. And from here, I can select all of these. And then from here, I can either print or email or save to a USB. And if the PDF or HTML is available, it will email that. A lot of times I just email articles to myself.
I have a question. With that, like say we wanted those 3 articles, if we leave this page, we exit out of it, go back to the library, it won't save it, right?
No, it won't.
Okay, that's what
You're going to have to, EBSCO requires that you create an account. And this would be an account separate from a library account here. Let me see if I remember to do this. Yeah, if you go to sign in here, you can create a new account there. And this is what the account would allow you to do. One of the things that you might be interested in as a graduate student is creating the email alert or the RSS feed. And if you're doing a search and there are recent articles that are added, you'll get an email alert with regards to those articles. Okay, I haven't played with that RSS feed or email alert, you know, simply because I have enough information hitting me every day from everything else I'm on. So, you know. Also, if you want to save your search history, if you want to go back and look at the keywords or the descriptors that you've used in a database, you can do that. But you got to create the account to do that. Yeah, oftentimes, a lot of times when I'm searching, I'll jot down the keywords I've used, or I'll print out the keywords I've used, especially if I'm doing some kind of intensive research, or if I'm working with a faculty member. And the faculty member will say, well, did you use this, or did you use that, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Let me see, is there anything else? How are you guys on Boolean Logic? Because I didn't really explain that too well. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say Boolean Logic? Because all databases use Boolean, Google uses Boolean. I've sort of kind of alluded to it a little bit. I'm sorry I didn't cover it real well here. But you notice here when we were searching, you notice these boxes where it says end here?
Yes.
Okay, if I click the down arrow here, I also see or and not. Okay, that's part of what we call Boolean logic. I'm sorry, my accent gets in the way of this word. Okay, named after George Bull. Okay, but there are 3 words or 3 operators with Boolean. And or not, some databases like our library catalog uses and not. Depends on the database. And using them affects our search results. If we're going to be using more than one keyword or more than one key phrase, if I put in, say, something like, I could do it this way. Instead of saying robot teachers, I could say robots and teachers. What I'm telling the database to do is to combine our keywords. Okay? And notice this time when I separated the two keywords, I got 48 search results. Generally, when you use N, you should get back fewer search results. So using N is a good way to narrow search results down. Now, OR allows us to use synonyms, or words that are similar in meaning. Remember I said sometimes with our keywords, we have to think of different ways to say the same thing, like children. What else could I have said besides children? Students.
Kids.
Young kids, kids. Youngsters. Youth. Juveniles. Crumb crushers. Ankle biters. You know. Mall rats. You know. Con artist. Okay. Generally, with OR, this will broaden our search results. Because I could say, I'm trying to think of another way to say robots here.
Electron?
Yeah, or something like, I could say robots, or androids and teachers, something like that. Or I could say children and juveniles and babies and teenagers. Okay, because when we use OR, it will search either keyword or key phrase. And not will exclude a search term or get rid of a search term. Okay, the example they use on your sheet is the example of virus, not AIDS. Okay. If I were to put, let's say I went into academic search complete and typed in the word AIDS, or I'm sorry, the word virus, chances are I would get a number of search results that talk about the AIDS virus. And if I'm not interested in the search results that deal with the AIDS virus, I could say I could get rid or eliminate those search results out of my search. Okay. Questions about Boolean? Did you guys have any other questions? Because I know we're running over time here a little bit. Did I cover everything that you wanted me to cover?
You do for me, because I'm throwing away back.
Now, the Business Source Complete is also an EBSCO database.
I've used that one before. The one that I'm just got introduced to was LexisNexis.
Okay.
That's the new one, or the new one for me.
Okay, usually with LexisNexis, LexisNexis covers your legal cases, court cases, and usually newspapers. Okay. But that is full text, and for the most part, you're going to use your Boolean with that. Was there a particular court case that you were looking at, or were you looking at, let me guess, tax cases, right?
This is from my business law class, actually, they gave us clear instructions on how to search for it. So go here, the specific thing, and we just put in the court case, which is pretty long.
Yeah, if you have the court case, or you have the court case number, or if you just have the plaintiff, the parties in the court case, you can do it. You can do it that way. Or if there's if you want to search for court cases that deal with, say, tort law, you could do that as well. Did I answer it for you?
Yes.
Now, on the databases sheet, there are a couple of databases that I put down, Happy and Mental Measurements Yearbook. For those of you who are in education, if you're looking for standardized tests or reviews of standardized tests, like Mental Measurements will give you a review. like on, was it Minnesota Multiphasic Inventory, the IP, I think it's called, which is one of the personality tests that they give sometimes, or the Beck Depression Inventory, which is another, yeah, if you want a review of that test, you could go to mental measurements, or if you're looking for tests, if you're looking for measurements, you might try HAPI, our HAPI database, the HAPI database, which is your health and psychosocial instruments database. Okay, I'm going to end it here if nobody has any further questions. Okay, so good luck, guys, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.